Alright. So looking back from yesterday's assignment or notes or lesson, whatever you want to call it. Okay, our first things first is we have to find our slope to write a linear equation. So we always have x and y. The first set of numbers gets our 1s, the second set gets our 2s. Okay. Does anyone remember the slope formula? Or can you read it off the paper?
y2 minus y1.
Yep, over.
x2 minus x1.
Yes, good work. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And that's our slope. So if we plug those numbers in, we should have gotten 1 minus negative 5 over 3 minus 0, which would be 1 minus negative was actually adding, right? So it would be 1 plus 5 is 6 over 3. Can we reduce that?
Yes.
To what? Crushing it over there today. Awesome. Okay, and then in this case, do I know my y-intercept off the top of my head? If I just look here. Yeah? What is it? It's negative 5. You're correct. Because when x is 0, my y value is negative 5. So my b value is negative 5. And then my fancy formula, y equals mx plus b, would be y equals 2x minus 5. Awesome. Any questions on that before we move on to today's lesson? Sweet. All right, so parallel lines. You guys did do this last year. It's been a while. It was lesson 2.10, I believe, 2.9 and 2.10. So if you have your notebooks from last year, super helpful to bring them. But parallel lines, they never intersect, which means they have the same slope. Okay? So we want to write a linear equation that's parallel to y equals 2/3 x minus 6 through the point 0, negative 3. Well, first things first, we have to figure out what our slope is. What do we know about the slopes when they're parallel? What does it say?
They're the same slope, it's just different y.
Yeah, same slope, but it'll be a different y-intercept. So my slope is still 2/3. Because parallel lines have the same slope, so they never touch. They go the same rate. Okay, so then my y-intercept, what's my y-intercept going to be? When x is 0, negative 3 is my y. That will be my y-intercept. And then we just have to plug it into our y equals mx plus b. And we have our m and b already. We got y equals 2/3 x, and then plus b. Our b is negative 3, so it's going to be minus 3. So we wrote our linear equation. Now let's see if they're actually parallel. Okay, so I'm going to graph this one first. We start at our y-intercept at negative 3 on our y-axis. And then I'm going to go up or down. Up, y up to start. Yeah, because it's positive. So we go up 2 and right 3. Up 2, right 3. And then to get that same motion, we'd go down 2 and left 3. Woo. Down 2, left 3. Matt, do you need a pencil or something? Okay. I expect you to be following along then. Awesome. There's our first, our new equation. And then our first line, we start at -6. And hey, it's the same slope, so we go up 2, right 3 again. Do they ever touch?
No.
No. Well, if I draw it correctly. Okay. So even if we extend these on forever and ever and ever, they will never touch. Anyone need more time on this? Okay. So this time we want to write an equation in point slope form. Okay, I'm going to write down our point slope form from yesterday. That's the y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. Okay, and we want it to be parallel to y equals 1/4 x plus 5 and cross through that point. Then we'll convert it to slope intercepts. Okay, so our y equals 1/4 x plus 5, we want it to be parallel. So what's my slope going to be? What's my slope up here? 1/4. Okay, what's my slope going to be down here? 1/4. It's the same because it's parallel. Okay, we don't know our b this time, but we have an x1 and a y1. So I'm going to label my x1 is -4. My y1 is 2. So plugging this in, remember we only change these 3 parts. The rest will look the exact same. So we do y. We're going to do minus y1, which is 2. So y minus 2 equals, m is 1/4, good. And then that parenthesis x minus, we're going to do minus -4. So what's that going to change it to? Good. Okay, so that's our point slope form. But then it says convert it to slope intercepts. That's our y equals mx plus b from earlier. So we have to get y alone. So first things first, distribute. Okay, so we get y minus 2 stays. 1/4 times x, you just write them side by side. A lot of people forgot to do this part. So everyone grab your calculators. We're going to do it together. We want 1/4 times 4. So in your calculator, you do 1 divided by 4. So again, 1 divided by 4 times 4. 1 divided by 4 times 4. What do we get? Good. So it'd be plus 1. Did anyone not get 1? It's okay. I just want to make sure we figure it out now rather than during the assignment time. Okay. And then lastly, we want to get y alone. So how do we get y alone? Yeah, we have to do the opposite of subtracting 2, which is adding 2. And our final equation would be y equals 1/4 x. And then 1 plus 2 is 3. Alright, next one, we want to write a linear equation parallel to y equals 5. We do not have a slope defined in this one, okay? So if we have no slope, aka a zero slope, that's what's called a horizontal line. You guys think far back to last year, we did something called Hoy-Vux, okay?
Pardon the interruption, Steve.
So we did this thing called Hoy-Vux. So if we have y equals just a number, that's a horizontal line, okay? And our slope is 0. And in order to get the same slope, we have to have y equals just a number again. So what number do you think our y is going to equal from our point? Yeah, 1, because it's our y value. So if we label x and y, hey, my y value is 1. That's all you have to do if it's just y and a number.
That's it.
Yep, if there's no x at all.
That's easy.
Okay. Any questions before we move on to the back?
Okay.
Anyone need more time? Good. Okay. Flipping it over to the back. So, we have perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines meet at a 90-degree angle. Okay? So, if you think of where the wall meets the floor, that's a 90-degree angle. Right there. Okay? The corner of your paper, if cut perfectly, is a 90-degree angle. Okay? Can you wait until after notes, please? So, if line Q has a slope of A over B, then a line perpendicular to Q must have what's called an opposite reciprocal. Okay? That's just a fancy thing of saying it changes signs. So if it's positive, it becomes negative. If it's negative, it becomes positive. And then you flip the fraction. Okay? So flip the fraction, change the sign. Flip the fraction, change the sign. Okay?
You only change the sign on the first one.
Only for slope. Only the slope changes. So we want to write an equation through 0, 4 and perpendicular to y equals negative 2/3 x. So my new slope, I'm going to flip the fraction, change the sign. It's already negative, so it becomes positive. And then if I flip that fraction, it's going to be 3 over 2. So we change the sign to positive from negative and flipped that fraction. Okay? And then in this case, do we know our y-intercept?
Yeah, it's 4.
Yeah, it's 4 because x is 0, y is 4. So my b value is 4.
Now we can make the equation.
You got it. So we have our 2 parts we need. So we'll have y equals, my m value was 3/2, or 3 over 2. Keep x, and then plus b is 4. Perfection. So now let's graph these and make sure that they're perpendicular. So they should cross at a 90-degree angle. Matt, what you doing? Okay. So we start with our y-intercept at 4. And it tells me to go 3 over 2, and it's positive. So I go up 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2. And then do the opposite. Go down 3, left 2. All the way to the end of your graph. So now if we did this correctly, our next line should be something like this, somewhere on this graph, where it crosses. So we have y equals negative 2/3 x. We aren't adding anything. What number is it if we don't add it? Yeah. So we're going to start at 0. If you want to write plus 0 to help you remember, that would be smart. Okay. Then negative 2/3 tells me to go down and to the right. So down 1, 2, right 1, 2, 3, down 2, right 3. And then go ahead and do the opposite up here. So up 2, left 3. And if you were to hold a piece of paper right at that corner, it should make a perfect 90-degree angle. Whoa. Fancy. Okay, any questions on that one? Alright. Now we're going to write an equation perpendicular to y equals 3x minus 1 and through points 3, 5. So in this case, are we given our y-intercept?
No.
Nope, we don't have 0, then a number. So we have to do that point slope form that we did earlier when we didn't have 0 and a number. So that y minus y1 fanciness. So I'm going to write that again so we can plug it in later. So do y minus y1 m x minus x1. So therefore, we need our slope, our x1, and our y1. So we're given a slope of 3. We want it to be perpendicular, so we have to flip the fraction. If it's just a 3, it's really over 1. So we flip it to 1 over 3, and then since it's positive, it becomes negative. The negative 1/3 is our slope.
And then x1 would be 3 and y1 would be 5.
Perfect. And then our x1 and y1 comes from our point, which is 3 and 5. So we go ahead and plug that in, and remember, only these 3 parts change. So we do y minus, it's a positive 5, so y minus 5 equals our slope, which is negative 1/3, x, and then we do minus 3. And this is all we have to do, because it doesn't tell us to switch it into any other form. This is our equation. Can you go farther and distribute it out? Yeah, sure. However, if it doesn't ask you to, don't do more work than is needed. Alright, any questions on that one? Awesome. Moving on to our last equation to write. So we want to write an equation perpendicular to x equals 5. Okay, this is like our Hoy-Vux one from earlier. Hoy-Vux. Okay, so x equals 5 is a vertical line at 5 on our x-axis. So if we want it to be perpendicular, we don't want it to be vertical again, we want it to be horizontal, right? So it crosses. So instead of x equals a number, we're going to have what?
0.
Instead of x, we would do y, yeah. y equals a number. And what's my y value?
-3.
You got it. So that's my equation. If it's perpendicular, you use the other letter. Instead of x, you use y. Instead of y, you use x. Grab guided notes and have these in your calculator. After notes, there's a line, though. Okay. Yes. Hearing and screening tests. So we go ahead and graph these to make sure it's right. If we graph y equals -3, should be at -3 in that horizontal line. Okay? And that x equals 5 equation is that x is 5 in that vertical line. And they cross perfectly at that 90-degree angle.